This is my dad, and he is a firefighter. He's always been really big and really strong, but the best thing about him is he's brave. Sometimes people get scared of him because he's so big, but he's actually really gentle. My uncles call him the gentlest giant. So that's my dad, and I love him.
Yay! That was so good!
Well done, Ben. That was great.
Thank you, Miss Park.
Okay, so who's next?
Me, Miss Park. I want to go next.
That's wonderful enthusiasm, Mia, but let's give others a turn. Sophia, would you like to share?
Okay, Miss Park. This is my family. My dad's retired, but my mum still works as a nurse. Ever since I can remember, she's been taking care of people. Mum says it's always been her passion. She never stops, even when she's really tired. And Mum always tells me that I should find my passion too. I don't know what mine is yet, but I hope I find it one day.
Aww. I'm so touched, Sophia. I'm sure you'll find your passion soon.
Thank you, Miss Park.
Okay, Mia, come up and show us your drawing.
Finally! Teddy, come with me. This is my family. Mummy travels a lot and Daddy's the boss. Mummy does this job called life insurance.
Stay away. Stay away from me. Whatever they're paying you, I'll double it.
And she's really good at it.
No.
Mummy earns lots of money, and she always buys me presents.
Do you know who I am? Do you? You're gonna pay for this, all of you!
And my daddy's a huge manager at a big bank. He always helps people with their money.
Mia, I'm home. I got a present for you.
Thank you, Mummy. And that's my family. I love them very much.
In this video, I'll break down exactly how you can make Pixar-style animations like that using AI. Because now that we have Seedance 2.5, it's easier than ever to make these kind of animations with good consistency. But the main question remains, like, how do you actually make sure that they're high quality? When I look at AI animations, then I see a lot of AI slop everywhere. So the goal is not to make slop like that. But these kind of like animations could be used to make your own animated cartoons or your animated series. Even you could do this for kids channels, whatever you prefer. But there's also good quality AI animations out there. You just gotta know how to create that quality. So the main thing you gotta understand is the difference in a beginner workflow versus a experienced workflow. Now beginners use any LLM to just ask for a text to image prompt, then they copy that prompt, put it into Higgsfield, and then out comes a basic generic result. The more experienced AI animator uses it in a different way. They also start with an LLM. In this case, I'd like to use Claude, but then we're gonna reverse engineer the kind of like style that we want to use. So what you want to do is you want to grab a few references that you'd like, and then you're gonna write a detailed prompt. Don't worry, in my free school community, I will give you all of the prompts, including all of the MD files that I'm gonna show you throughout this video. So I'll leave a link in the description down below. So after importing all of their references, they're writing this detailed prompt, and that prompt analyzes the references that they're using. It analyzes and goes over the skin textures and writes that out, and it gives you a basic prompt structure that you can use. So after putting that whole prompt in there, we get this detailed structure that we can use throughout the rest of all of our generations. So for example, if I now put in the prompt to make a cartoon like women, then it gives me a prompt like this. So copying the prompt, it gave me this result. So I didn't quite like this output. So what I did is I went back into Claude and then I put in this reference of the hairstyle that I like. And then I asked it to remake that prompt. So then it gave me this new prompt, which I then put into the image generator. And now it made me something like this. So you want to rinse and repeat that entire process until you have all of your characters like these one. So these are the characters I used for my short movie. Now, if you don't want to go through that hassle of training Claude with a starting prompt, then you can use this MD file that does all of the hard work for you. Again, this one is in the school community. Now that we've trained Claude and we've defined our characters, it's time for image generation. To create your images, we're going to use this prompt format. And to explain it, we're basically covering these 12 segments. We're talking about the face, the subject, the skin, the hands, the silhouette, the hair, the wardrobe, the pose, and the camera, and the background. So after you've had Claude fill out all of the details of your prompt, you're going to put this inside of Higgsfield, and then you can choose yourself between the models that you'd like to use. There are 3 models that I would recommend: Nano Banana Pro, GPT Image 2, and also Seedream 5.0 Pro. If you're not sure which one you should pick, then here is all 3 of them side by side so you can see for yourself which one you like the most. Now, out of this comparison, I liked GPT Image 2 the most. The only downside with GPT Image 2 is it feels a bit like grainy or like too noisy in the image. But in later generation, you wouldn't notice it as much, as we're gonna use a different model for the location. Now we're gonna make a character sheet, and I know we've done this a million times already, but let me show you a change that I've noticed that works better for animations. So this is our usual character sheet. Now for animation, I've noticed that it doesn't work quite as well as this character sheet. The reason why is because animated videos have much more facial expressions compared to like cinematic style videos. So I would recommend using this style when you're making animations. We have a full body pose, and then we have 8 different expressions that the AI can use when it's generating your character. Now all we need to do is we need to drop in the MD file into Claude, then you drop in the image of your character, and then you simply say, I want to create a character sheet of my character Mia. And now it's gonna write the prompt for you that you can use as your character sheet. Everything is done for you in this MD file. You don't have to like think twice about it. After you copy that prompt, you add in your reference, and then you get something like this. I'm using Seedream 5.0 right here because for this character, for some reason, it looked better. So I'm mixing and matching and trying out different models. Don't stick to one. There could always be a different result. You could even generate like 2 of them simultaneously. Credits for images are quite cheap, so I would spend more time in getting the best image than trying to fix it with your video generations, as those are really expensive. So I've done this for all of my characters, and now we can move over to the next step, which is creating your location where this animation takes place. Again, I went into Claude, I prompted it my idea of where this animation takes place, and then it spits out a detailed prompt for me, and it looks something like this. And I made this using Nano Banana Pro, because if I did the same thing using ChatGPT, then I would get a bit of a too grainy texture in here. So this is the classroom that we're gonna use for this animation where everything takes place. Now that you've got all of the assets, it's time for the fun part, which is generating your videos. And I'm gonna walk you through the formats that I'm using for this, because this is very important. Seedance can understand a lot of context, so you can feed it a lot of context, but you need to know how to exactly do that so you're getting the best result and you're not ending up wasting credits. So this is the prompt format that we will be using throughout generating all of our different generations using Seedance 2.5. Now keep in mind, this prompt format is in the skill.md file, so you can use that and talk to Claude to fill in the details for you. How I do it is I dump in all of my characters or assets like this, then I reference them and I explain what each one is, that is for the reference material. Then I include the voices, the voice lines. I add in the goal, the continuity, the shots. I basically explain it all through like a voice note. I use Whisper Flow, or you can also use the dictation mode in Claude, and then you can just talk to it and you can explain your idea. Make sure that it fits within the maximum length of 30 seconds and not that you're like talking about a 20-minute during scene, even though this can only generate 30 seconds. If you've done it correctly, it will follow this style of prompting, and you can then copy the outcome, which is this entire prompt, into Seedance. The most important thing that you need to think of is that you're tagging all of these different elements correctly. What you can also do instead, if instead of uploading this as images, you can upload these as elements and you can give them names. This makes it way easier for you to type them and you don't have to re-upload every single character all the time. So that's what I did. I named them Ben, I named them Ben Dad, I named them Boy, Ben Drawing. And you want to make sure that every ad in your prompt is tagged in there. Because if it isn't tagged, then the AI doesn't know who to link or what reference to link to that. Now the tip that I want to give you here is always generate your video twice. And you might be thinking, Dan, you're making me burn credits. I know, but there's a reason for it. If your prompt is good enough, you might still be not as lucky with your generation. If you do 2 generation, you can mix and match them. Because especially in a 30-second video, there might be a few mistakes. For example, take a look at this video.
This is my dad, and he is a firefighter. He's always been really big and really strong, But the best thing about him is he's brave. Sometimes people get scared of him because he's so big, but he's actually really gentle.
So as you saw, the beginning is good, but just this part where he jumps through this thing, it's a bit weird. Like all of a sudden he breaks through this wall. Well, there was no wall to begin with. But the rest of the video was actually really good. So now, because I have generated another time, I can use that second generation and then I can mix that and cut it to the correct one that I want to use. So take a look at this one. So here he's actually breaking through the door because he's too big to fit in. And then he's going through like that fire. And that's what you can do with the power of a bit of editing. If you have two generations, you got options to choose from. But still, if your first generation is absolute garbage, don't generate it another time. Just reiterate your prompt and try it again. One feature that works super well in Seedance 2.5 is the extend feature. And this is great for seeing continuity. Because what we can now do is we can upload our video in here. And then we can use that to continue that scene. So we're just gonna continue from our original scene. But first, let me show the last 6 seconds so you know what it is about.
So that's my dad, and I love him.
So he loved his dad. That's all good. Now we're gonna continue this and we're gonna keep adding in all of our references and then we can continue this prompt. So we're using the same prompt format. You can literally drop all of these assets into Claude. You tell it that you want to continue the scene and ask it for a new prompt with the idea that you have in mind. The most important thing that you need to select is the direction. Do you want to make it as a sequel or a prequel? Now a sequel is when it continues after the end. And a prequel is that it starts before that video. So we want to do a sequel and now we can enter this. You can choose the duration of how long you think it is. You have instructed your Claude for this. So in my case, this is about like 30 seconds, 29 seconds. And now you can hit generate. So that gives us this entire new video, which if we then stitch that together with the previous one, you can see the difference between video 1 and video 2. It just continues as it always has been one video. The consistency, the style, it's all there. Now talking about that consistency, how do you achieve that with the voices? You gotta do a bit of prompting and a bit of referencing for that. So how do you get that consistent voice? The easiest thing for you to do is use the MD file, use the script that you have in mind, and then describe all of your characters. Describe what they're like, how old they are, what they look like. You could even drop in references. Then it comes up with different voice prompts for you. You can copy each of them, you can try them out. And the most important thing is the first generation that you do, that is basically the baseline for all of your voices. So keep that in mind because the first generation is the easiest. Keeping it consistent throughout the next generation, that is the challenge. So what that actually means is that you have to cut out all of the voices from each character. So you have that exact dialogue that you can then later use as a reference. So for example, for the teacher, I've cut out and trimmed out all of the parts where she's talking. Then for my other characters, I've also cut out and trimmed out all of the parts that we're using there. I'm doing this of the teacher and of this kid. Then what you want to do is you want to export it as a MP4. Not as an MP3, you could, but I would just suggest try using a MP4 as a video reference. That is with a black screen because it doesn't have an image. So for example, this is the audio reference that I used.
Well done, Ben. That was great. Okay, so who's next? That's wonderful enthusiasm, Mia.
This is a stitched together compilation of all of the voice lines that I had from this teacher. Keep in mind, the combined voice references should be less than 30 seconds. So here I have the same of this other character.
This is my dad, and he is a firefighter. But the best thing about him is he's brave. Sometimes people get scared of him because he's
So that is 13 seconds. We're using it right there with a character sheet of the teacher, character sheet of the boy, and then we are prompting it again and we can generate this and then we get a result like this one.
Hi, I'm Miss Park, and thank you so much for watching Dan's video. Let me take you on a tour around the classroom. How are we getting on, Ben?
Miss Park, I'm struggling with this question.
Let me help you with that. Count my fingers for me.
1, 2.
Good, now count my other hand.
1, 2, 3.
So how many is that altogether?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.
5! Well done, Ben!
Thanks, Miss Park.
So yeah, Seedance still struggles a little bit with putting on the right amount of fingers there. But as you heard, the voices were pretty consistent. And those are like all of the little tips and tricks that I can give you so you can make your own AI animation. If you want to learn more about Seedance 2.5, then click the video that's on the screen right now and I will teach you everything that I know about Seedance 2.5.